Welcome to Subramani. Um, Today I'm going to tell you don't listen to experts. And I don't consider myself an expert. I really don't know enough about any particular thing to call myself an expert. So I'm a generalist, and like how my senior Mr. Patil, VH Patil used to say, is when you are a specialist, you know more and more about less and less. So I know very small area, and I think I know more and more about it. And you're the greatest expert when you know everything about nothing. So I'm soon reaching there. I will know everything about nothing. But having said that, I thought some kind of deciphering of what you hear in the on television or on any other social media. I was just trying to decipher something which whether to see whether I understand. So yes, there are some rational people who will sit and talk about the markets, who will say, well, this could happen in US, this could happen in Europe, this could happen in Japan, and therefore we have to take this view, and interest rates, etc., etc. And they may not have a very strong opinion on anything because they're working on probability. What happens if interest rates in US go up? What happens if interest rates in Japan goes up? What happens if interest rates goes up everywhere but it does not go up in India, or interest rate actually goes down in India because we are included in the MSCI index? Will we get $1 trillion? Will we get $10 billion? We have no clue, right? All these numbers are too vague at the macro level. Will more Indians invest? Will the number of Indian investors double again and again and again? Because there is still a lot of scope, 134 crore people, and we have maybe 2 crore, 3 crore, 4 crore kind of investors. Can their numbers increase? We don't know. Too many things are too vague. Like, I've seen enough American literature who was really enamored by our jam, right? Everybody having a bank account. The percentage of population without the bank account in India and US seems to be more or less same. 25% of the US is unbanked. We must credit Manmohan Singh to have thought about it, but Narendra Modi to have implemented the scheme of saying every Indian should have a bank account, right? So some of these things which we have done are great, which are doing well. But when it comes to television, when you hear people saying things like there's a lot of money on the sidelines, I have no clue from where these people know that there is money in the sidelines waiting to enter the market. We have no clue. Yes, a lot of youngsters are coming into the market, but maybe they're coming into direct equity, maybe they're buying, maybe they're selling, maybe they're going short. And if you go to Google and say best shares to buy, you are sure to find Asian Paints, Pidilite, HDFC Bank, Reliance to show up, because many people are quoting, are buying them and writing about them, right? So are they the best shares to buy? I think my Nestle yield last 1 year must have been 2-3%, if I am not wrong, right? So is that a great yield? I don't know, because when the market goes up so much, why doesn't Nestle go up? Because maybe it's already gone up. I don't really know, but hearing things like there is money waiting in the sidelines, to me doesn't matter. I have no clue how these people know that there is money waiting in the sidelines. Similarly, another thing, that PE ratio is not the best thing to see. You have to see the PB ratio, because PE ratio taken in isolation does not tell you the whole story. And anyway, going forward, the PE ratios are low. Really? How many of us have ever got the EPS right? If you can't get the EPS right for a simple company, how will you get the PE right? How do you know that the PE of Reliance won't change from that of a commodity company to that of a telecom company, right? If the major revenues come from there, or for example, a retail company. How do you know that DMart promoters and shareholders will permanently keep it out of F&O? How do you know that they will never allow it to go into the index? That you know, because if they keep it out of F&O, it can be kept out of the index. So it won't get into the index, at least not till it gets into F&O. Why DMart does not get into F&O? Why Pfizer is in F&O but not DMart? We have no answers for many of those things. If you can't have answers for such small things, how will you have answers for the bigger things like forward PE is low or high? I don't know forward EPS. How can I get a guess about the forward PE? Another thing is interest rates have to go up because they've gone too low. Really? How do you know that? What happens if India gets included in the MSCI index and money starts coming in? What happens if we contain inflation? Why do we assume that our inflation will always be much higher? Currently, the US is admitting to 6.8. which the people are saying should be is wrong. It should be more like 8.5, 9, and our figure is something like 4.4, 4.5. So are we really there? Is inflation in India really low? I don't know. If I do not know about inflation, how do I know that interest rates will remain low for too long, right? So interest rates could go up. What happens when interest rates go up? Technically, gilt will become attractive. If Indian gilt is available at 7.5% and our inflation is 4.4%, why would I take punt on anything other than gilt, right? So I don't know. I don't know whether the interest rates are low. I know interest rates are at a historic low, but I don't know whether it will go lower, right? Like my age, I know it's at an historic high and I know it will go higher. I can't say that about interest rates. I don't understand that much about interest rates. We don't understand any of the, like Naren Shankaran says, currently the market is being run by the central bankers, right? So the Fed will decide how much money to pump in, the Japanese central bank will decide, the Europeans will decide. In our own country, I think we have not interfered so much, but yes, surely interest rates have been kept benign in India, and I think inflation is inching up. If inflation inches up, our interest rates have to go up. But if money flows in because of MSCI index inclusion, interest rates will come down. How much money will flow in depends on how well we control inflation, because if inflation is high, we will depreciate against the US dollar. But the US dollar is again very funny, because we don't know when China is buying gold. We don't know whether China is buying gold or dumping the dollar. Oh God, again confusion. So will the dollar always remain so strong? Will people start calling on the dollar and saying, well, this country has no money, why should we buy the dollar? We saw the pound decline, so will the dollar also decline? Will the dollar lose its power? The problem is we don't have a solution to what can happen if the dollar goes away as the main currency, reserve currency. We don't know who can be the next one. It can't be China, it can't be India, it can't be Brazil, it can't be Japan. It's too small a country. It can't be Euro. So we don't know who will be replacing it. Therefore, we are assuming more like our voting options. TINA, there is no alternative. So it is to be the dollar. What happens if somebody questions it 3 years, 5 years, 7 years from now? What happens if there are no petrodollars? What happens if you can buy oil from Russia in ruble? I have no answers to any of those things. So then another brave thing to say, oh, markets are down, you should buy it, because our recovery will always be V-shaped. Right? That's a great learning we have all had from, say, 2009. From 2009, 2017, or 2020, March to September, we saw V-shaped recovery. So we assume that recovery will always be V-shaped. Are we ready for market saying, okay, doing nothing from 2022 to 2027, just grinding to 65,000 on the Sensex? Will we accept it? Will we get bored? Are the millennials of today wanting to stay on in the market, which is very boring? I think they will stay on in the boring market. They will not stay on in the falling market. If the market falls, they'll take their money and run. They may do something else, cryptocurrency. After all, Disha Patani and Ranveer Singh are selling cryptocurrency. So maybe they'll buy cryptocurrency. I have no clue what will happen. If I don't know what they will do with their money, whether they'll buy gold or cryptocurrency, I dare not guess what will happen to interest rates, right? What about those people who are always cautiously optimistic? I still don't know. Cautiously optimistic means we have a huge position, so we don't dare to sell everything in one shot. We cannot sell everything in one shot, and if everybody sells, our AUM will fall, and for heaven's sake, we get a percentage of fee based on the AUM. So if the markets fall, it's bad for us. We will make less money. So the way to talk is to say, oh, the market is down, it's a great buying opportunity. Look at BFSI, it's not done well. Look at IT, it's just coming out. What about companies like Indigo and Thomas Cook? I'm sure people are going to travel with a vengeance, right? So all these language of being a permanent bull, you will hear. And then things like, oh, I think the second half will be a better story. First half was not so good. And then if you want to be even more careful, you say the second half looks a little nice, but perhaps the recovery will happen only in the second half of next year. You have bought yourself at least 12 months to be on television, and they will not find any fault with you. Another amazing thing is nobody records this and plays it back, right? So if you really want to have fun, keep on recording whatever you're hearing and listen to it later. Another amazing thing I hear from fund managers is to say there is no bull market or a bear market. It depends. There is the rotation of industry. So today, if you see, pharma has not done well for the last 7-8 months. So now it could be the turn of pharma. And BFSI has not done well. If the economy is going to boom and good, then there will be a return of the BFSI. So which means you can go and buy insurance, you can buy mutual funds, you can buy banks, and all of them will come back with a vengeance, which may not be very far away from the truth, because the same people who are in the BFSI are talking about BFSI. So they might themselves prop up the shares. So I'm just guessing. Then the BFSI meaning has increased, so you can buy a stock exchange, you can buy a depository, you can buy a bank, you can buy a general insurance, a life insurance, a mutual fund, and you name it and you can buy it, and you can create a BFSI index where perhaps SBI and HDFC Bank will still play a dominant role, but it would also have NSE and a BSE. NSE is likely to get listed, I think, in about maximum of 6 months. The numbers are really working towards that, so that could happen. So fantastic. You have the whole BFSI space. You can buy pharma. You can say US is coming out, and there will be fantastic opportunity for pharma. So Indian pharma you can buy in US, and etc. 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 So all these kind of things you will hear, and then there is always this greatest thing saying markets may look a little overstretched now, but I think in the longer run, because as more and more Indians invest, it will catch up. Which means in fund manager's speech, it means, dude, I have no clue where the market is going, but I think it's stretched. मुझे तो डर लग रहा है, मैं बेच नहीं सकता, so I will do what I have to do, you do what you have to do. And what about the bears in the world? Okay, they also have, please also understand that everybody has an agenda. Sub agenda is very clear. My agenda is very clear. I have books to sell. That's the only retail product I have. So I have books to sell, and I have lectures to sell. But unfortunately, I have not been doing any lectures online, offline, anything. So some online stuff I'm doing next week. But not really much online event I'm not doing. So very, very rarely am I doing events. So I'm not really selling events. Yes, of course I have events to sell. As and when I do, I'll come to you, and I have books to sell. Other than that, I don't have any agenda. So I will not go out like the world's greatest billionaire going out in 2009-11. He said now the world has to be prepared for chemical warfare and things like that. What happened was, I'm sure that the number of people coming to him for reinsurance for chemical attacks was very high, right? So sometimes you talk up the market for talking up the market, sometimes you talk up the market for your own agenda. So every billionaire has an agenda. You have to remember that. So every billionaire comes and says something, may not be true, may be true, he may be actually right, he may be wrong. But largely, it will not happen that he or she is talking without an agenda. So when I'm investing in a company, I want to downplay and say, oh, we don't know how the airline will do, etc., etc. Then after finishing with buying, you say, oh, just imagine 100 new airports coming up thanks to Mr. Modi, and who do you think will fly to all these places? Won't it be Indigo? Won't it be SpiceJet? Won't it be GoAir? Depending on whatever share I have a position in. So these are all things which you have to understand if you have to understand how the market works. So you can be a permanent bear, you can be a permanent bull, you can be anything, but you need to understand from where the money is coming. So if I am a fund manager, money is coming from the asset management fees. Will I ever want to say, okay, sell everything and sit on cash? Cash is not profitable, definitely not for the asset management business. Yes, so what do you do? Right, so whenever somebody talks, whether he's a billionaire, multimillionaire, fund manager, he's on television or social media, or Subra talking on YouTube, doesn't really matter. Look at what is the hidden agenda, because if somebody tells you there is no agenda, then you are the agenda, right? Simple old story. If you don't know what is the product being advertised, you are the product, right? You're being forced to buy things which you may not want to buy. So that's it. So this is my these are the products which I have to sell, and maybe I'll come out with newer books which I want your indulgence. Maybe I'll do coaching, I'll do classes, I will do one-to-one coaching. I don't know what all I am capable of doing, I'm not tried, but I have a feeling that I can live on my dividends. I should continue to do that. I'm having fun doing YouTube. I hope you are having fun watching. Thank you.